President, what do you know right now about why this happened? And can you assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect?
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President? Should all depositors be protected at all banks?
All right, thank you.
Profit with crypto and blockchain faster. If passive income is what you're after. It's generational wealth here to capture. Welcome to the show of the Blockchain Trapper. It's the Blockchain Trapper.
Welcome to the Blockchain Trapper, home of the Blockchain Trappers, where we discuss everything about crypto news and analysis. Shout out to the latest new subscribers. Appreciate y'all. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate y'all. And help push this channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at the Blockchain Trapper, FEDNOW_G. Alright, this latest new scoop for y'all today. We got a bank run, y'all. Let's go. Silicon Valley Bank collapses after failing to raise capital.
And so as a result, there was a lot of fear about the solvency of the bank. And you had kind of a bank run that a lot of the customers started pulling their money out of the bank. And
what happened was last Friday, Silicon Valley Bank collapsed after stunning 48 hours in which the bank run and a capital crisis led to second largest failure of a financial institution in U.S. history. California regulators closed down the tech lender and put it under control of the U.S. Deposit Insurance Corporation. The FDIC is acting as a receiver, which typically means it will liquidate the bank's assets to pay back its customers, including depositors and creditors. What happened? The wheels started to come off Wednesday when SVB announced it had sold a bunch of securities at a loss, that it would sell $2.2 billion in new shares of shore up its balance sheets. That triggered a panic among key venture capital firms who reportedly advised companies to withdraw their money from the bank. The company's stock cratered on Thursday, dragging other banks down with it. By Friday morning, SVB's shares were halted, and it had abandoned efforts to quickly raise capital or find a buyer. Several other banks' stocks were temporarily halted Friday, including First Republic, PacWest, Bancorp, and Signature Bank. The mid-morning timing of the FDIC's takeover was noteworthy, as the agency typically waits until the market has closed to intervene. There y'all go. The SVB condition deteriorated so quickly that it couldn't last just 5 more hours, wrote Better Market CEO Dennis M. Kelleher. That's because its depositors withdrawing their money so fast that the bank was insolvent, and an intraday closure was unavoidable due to a classic bank run. Silicon Valley Bank's decline stems partly from the Federal Reserve's aggressive interest rate hikes over the past year. When interest rates were near zero, banks loaded up on long-dated, seemingly low-risk treasuries, but as the Feds raised interest rates to fight inflation, the value of those assets have fallen, leaving banks sitting on unrealized losses. Here we go. Right here about unusual whales. This is truly incredible. Here's an exchange with Senator James Lankford and Secretary Yellen. He asks, will every community bank get the same treatment as SVB? Yellen, banks only get the treatment if the failure to protect the uninsured depositors will create systemic risk.
Start with some of the banking issues we're dealing with on it. Will the deposits in every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of their size, be fully insured now? Are they fully recovered? Every bank, every community bank in Oklahoma, regardless of the size of the deposit, will they get the same treatment that SVB just got or Signature Bank just got?
A bank only gets that treatment if a majority of the FDIC board, a supermajority of the Fed board, and I, in consultation with the president, determine that the failure to protect uninsured depositors would create systemic risk and significant economic and financial consequences.
So what is your plan?
We made that determination.
Right. So what is your plan to keep large depositors from moving their funds out of community banks into the big banks? We have seen the mergers of banks over the past decade. I'm concerned you're about to accelerate that by encouraging anyone who has a large deposit in a community bank to say, we're not going to make you whole, but if you go to one of our preferred banks, we will make you whole at that point.
Look, I mean, that's certainly not something that we're encouraging.
That is happening right now.
That is happening because depositors are concerned about the bank failures that have happened and whether or not other banks could also
No,
fail.
it's happening
And
because you're fully insured no matter what the amount is. If you're in a big bank, you're not fully insured if you're in a community bank.
Well, you're not fully insured. And
You were at Signature, and it just barely met that threshold. You were at Signature.
Well, we felt that there was a serious risk of contagion that could have brought down and triggered runs on many banks. And that's something, given that our judgment is that the banking system overall is safe and sound, depositors should have confidence in the system, and we took these actions.
So there's a special
discourage
assessment that's been done on community banks in my state and all banks across the country. Was there any discussion that that special assessment would only apply to the larger banks, or was it always assumed the special assessment would cover every bank, including rural banks in my state?
I think I'm not certain what the rules are around that.
It has been reported publicly that SVB had a large number of Chinese investors that are there, including some that were companies directly connected to the Chinese Communist Party. Will those individuals, companies, entities, and investors that are Chinese investors be made whole based on assessments in my banks in Oklahoma? So what I'm asking is, will my banks in Oklahoma pay a special assessment to be able to make Chinese investors whole from Silicon Valley Bank?
Uninsured investors will be made whole in that bank, and I suppose that could include foreign depositors, but I don't believe there's any legal basis to discriminate among uninsured.
I get it, but I'm just saying my community banks are going to pay this additional fee. It is always fascinating to me as well, the conversation that taxpayers are being made whole in this, that taxpayers are not going to have any kind of consequence on this. I'm sure my bankers are going to be very excited to know they no longer pay taxes.
Well, there you go. It's a bank run. And all the large banks will get some help. But all the other banks won't meet that threshold. So even foreign depositors will be protected before regular old everyday citizens. It's a bank run. Get your bags and run. Be your own bank. Run straight to these assets that we talk about on this channel every day, every episode, and get to your own wallet. Be your own bank. Not your keys, not your crypto.
Assure Americans that there won't be a ripple effect. There won't be a ripple effect.
Do you expect other banks to fail, Mr. President?
From Well Chart. Are we witnessing a banking crisis? Silicon Valley Bank, First Republican Bank, down 60%, and more. Banks across the board have been selling off. Look at all these banks, y'all. Here we go from Brett Hill. Huge. Boom. Migration weekend. This weekend coming. It's this weekend, y'all. It's here. Today it's the weekend, y'all. ISO20022. It's going live. XRP to the moon. During the weekend of 18 through 19 March 2023, CBPR messages will be active on Fin Plus Live for all participants. March 2023, it centralizes instant payments, real-time gross settlement, and security settlement system. One of the key changes introduced with this consolidation project is the migration of the messaging format to ISO 20022. Will ISO 20022 be introduced and where? The focus of this fact frequently asked question overview migration for cross-border payments and reporting plus, commonly referred to as CBPR plus, which will start March 2023 and end November 2025, with the coexistence periods of 3 years. 22 will introduce real-time gross settlement (RTGS), target to high-value payment services and other market infrastructures such as Hong Kong Interbank Clearing Limited or Swiss Interbank Clearing. These migrations have different time and deadlines. The RTGS Target 2 migration will take place on the weekend of March 18th and 19th, referred to as a Big Bang migration. And as of Monday, March 20th, only MX messages are allowed for exchange of information. Target 2, in contrast to this CBPR migration, begins in March 2023 and has a deadline of November 2025. Now this includes securities and settlements and instant transfers. It is to be migrated to a new infrastructure per Big Bang. There is no going back. More than 5,000 credit institutions are affected, including a good 1,500 banks and saving banks in this country. Tweeted from Amelia at Crypto Barbie. XRP has successfully been tested by Swift system in the past. Can y'all connect the dots? CBDC processed nearly 22 billion in digital yuan transactions. And it also comes to a time which the People's Bank of China has banned the use of other cryptos such as Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is pushing ahead plans to adopt digital yuan. According to Fujian News, individuals and businesses in China, Fujian province had processed digital yuan transactions worth nearly 22 billion, a number that reflects the rapid progress of the country's central bank digital currency initiative. Even China is in on this. They have their own CBDC already transacting and functioning and really running already. They moving transactions.
That is amazing, Jim, really. So what did these elites want from your contact at BlackRock?
Basically, they want to classify BlackRock as too big to fail. The technical term is Systemically Important Financial Institution, or SIFI. That designation normally applies to banks, such as Bank of America. If your bank gets the SIFI label, it means the government will bail you out first in a crisis. But it also means you must turn over control of your bank until the crisis subsides.
And from Black Swan Capitalists, with a banking crisis on the rise, the Feds is getting ready to go live with instant payment services. We can't help but wonder if it's the moment XRP's utility will finally be realized. Fed's new payment system to launch in July.
They about to win the case. XRP is about to blow. I need instant trans because the business world is moving at the speed of light. So billionaires need their money to move at the speed of light also. The international banking system to bow down at that also. That's all. Why does it take a bank 7 days to train numbers? Because they're trying to figure out an angle on how to steal money out of their trans. XRP cucks out the middleman again. I can do it and the whole world can see it in the open ledger. That's all it is. We tired of you bankers with your closed ledger. You hiding something. Why is your ledger closed? The government, can you bail us out? Ain't nobody gonna bail y'all ass out, man. How many times we done bailed you banks out? How many times we done bailed out corporate America? How many times we done bailed all you sons out? We ain't getting bailed out no more. Yeah, XRP about to blow. That's my take on it.
Understand how a bank works. It's a classic Jimmy Stewart problem. When you put a deposit in a bank, they don't lock it up in a safe. They keep a lot in reserve to make sure they have enough liquidity, cash for deposit withdrawals. But most of it, they make loans, they make investments, and whatever returns they make on that, that's how they get their profit, and then they pay some of that in interest to the depositors. That's how it works. If you rush into a bank, everybody at once, this is what happened with Silicon Valley, and pull all your money out, you're going to force an otherwise healthy bank to fail. And that could be a very, very serious problem for our financial system. So that is really the dynamic the regulators have to avoid at all costs.
And if you look at balance sheets of the banks, virtually none of them are sitting on enough cash to back demand deposits that can be withdrawn. Is that the bank regulators have for a long time hated the most tech-forward banks. They like the concept that everything has to be analog because it slows everything down. Just yesterday, the Fed confirmed that FEDNOW, which is the new payment system that is ultimately going to replace FedWire, is coming online in July. And it's a 24/7, 365 system. And there was a lot of information in the press release about the testing requirements that the banks that are going to be rolling it out in July will have to comply with. There was zero acknowledgement that the speed of money movement is going to increase inherently when you get a real-time system. But now there's also speed up of settlement once the instruction is received by the bank. And that is going to be real time. Now, nothing in that press release about requiring the banks that are going to be offering FedNow to hold more liquidity. It means they don't get it yet.
You did tell Politico that there was no doubt in your mind that there would be more bank collapses. It's been an eventful week. Do you still think that is the case?
Oh, there already has been.
Right.
So
do you think there'll be more from? Do you think there'll be more from here?
Yes.
Leave off right here with this last one for y'all from a Ghostbuster with a message.
Gary and Jay. Hi, this is Ernie Hudson. Winston Zedmore from Ghostbusters, from Oz, The Hand That Rocks the Cradle, The Crow, Grace and Frankie, Congo. Anyway, just to name a few film and TV shows. I have a message for you from Brad and Chris. The message is, Brad and Chris, they want you to know the message from Jay was received. They're still a bit salty that you sued them on your last day of your tenure, but they wanted you to know that you're forgiven. They want to extend an olive branch to Gary at the SEC for settlement. It would be best for the world if the USA decided to use XRP, and the Ripple team is willing to help that process. It's important. Anything Ripple does should not negatively impact citizens who own XRP. And a parting message, get your moon boots on, Gary. The USA is going to the moon. Take care.